Welcome back to Unrattled, a podcast for parents. Today, we're talking about something every parent wants to get right, helping our kids set goals and stick with them. We want them to be motivated, to work through challenges, and to believe they can accomplish hard things. But at the same time, we don't want to create extreme pressure or tie their sense of worth to achievement. So what does healthy perseverance actually look like in childhood? How do we encourage effort without pushing too hard? And what do we say when our kids want to give up? To help unpack this, I'm joined again by two familiar voices on the show, Lauren Peru Harvey and Jay Jones. Together, we're diving into the idea of growing grit and how parents can support kids in setting goals, staying motivated, and learning from the process along the way. Let's get into it. All right, here we are talking about growing grit with Jay Jones and Lauren Peru. Grit. There was a lot of title options, but you know, grit is just
like it's gritty.
Mm-hmm. Southern.
Gritty.
Southern.
Yep.
All right, so we're gonna do a quick fire question here for both of you. Jay, I'm gonna start with you. What's one parenting task that is requiring the most grit from you right now?
Turning off lights. Turning off lights every time I come in a house, every time I walk into a room. But really, man, I think more than anything is getting them to understand, responsibility. That's been
that power bill ain't no joke. Woo! You're under a rock if you're not.
Oh my
if
goodness.
You aren't experiencing higher power bills.
I spend probably more of my days just turning off lights, turning off TVs, turning off lamps. I'm like, yo, man, y'all, they opening doors, not closing doors. I'm like, yo, man, what's going on?
What's the big deal?
Right.
All right, Lauren, what's a hobby that you enthusiastically started and quickly abandoned?
Ooh, so many. I do that classic ADHD thing where I will go down a rabbit hole and be obsessed and then just I forget, poof, I wasn't there. I would say needlepoint.
Oh.
I started hand embroidering some jeans that I had that had a little paint stain on them, and I was like, oh, this is the perfect solution. I'll just do this and I'll just embroider over it. It's half done. They're laying some there. Yeah. So
they look good.
As it's gonna get.
It looks good at the end.
Yeah.
I have to tell you, and I know it's not really a hobby, it's a lifestyle, but going to the gym. Gym membership, bought the clothes, did the things, it looked cute. I walk in there and I'm like, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Couple of days, get on the treadmill.
I've been guilty of.
I'll walk outside in my I'll walk all day long.
Yeah.
Love it. But don't get me in that gym.
I paid for personal training thinking that would be enough motivation, with money.
No.
I had several that I had paid for that I never did.
And then they made it so difficult to quit.
Right.
You have to write a letter and come in with your ID and I'm like, listen here.
They trying to put all the obstacles in your way. That's so funny, man.
Tom at the registration desk.
I'm not coming back.
And you're not taking my $40 a month anymore.
Man.
But I really did want to.
Yeah.
I mean, healthy me signed up for it, but
What'd you say?
Realistic.
You walked in there and was like,
because I reminded myself, or the experience reminded me, I don't like people, really.
And
I'm on that treadmill watching those people look at themselves in the mirror and come on.
over there flexing time. Ooh. Gotta get it. Yeah.
Dancing with the barbells.
Jesus.
Screaming, squatting and screaming and stuff.
And all the women over a certain age were all looking at each other like, can you believe this? We should just start a club.
That's funny.
Yeah, so that was mine. Okay, so last one. The word that comes to mind when you hear grit is
dedication.
Yeah, perseverance.
not cheese or anything like that. Yeah, no, you're right. Perseverance was mine too.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. It's Southern, so I was like, all right, let's
I
do
sure
this.
could use some grits.
We can do. I know it's getting close to lunchtime,
Yeah,
y'all.
some shrimp and
What are you
grits.
talking about?
Come on now.
All right, so let's start by defining what we really mean by grit. And you told us the word that comes to mind, but Lauren, in your world, in your work, what does that mean? What does grit mean?
It is. I mean, perseverance is the even better than dedication, but it's that commitment to really try and get through and keep going, even when it's hard,
Yeah.
even when there are obstacles. Like, it is like I'm grinding and I'm rolling with it.
Got to. I'm with that. For me, I often remind our team of this too because of the field that we work in. It's so fickle when it comes to, funding and sustainability, right? And so I always remind them, to see it through. Like that, when I think of grit, that's what I it's you just got to see it through. Know what you're here for. Know who you're doing it for. Know, that you're not going to get that pat on the back every day. That you're not going to be supported. Nobody's going to champion you. You're not going to get the key to the city or nothing like
Right.
that. But you have to see it through because somebody is going to be better off because of you.
And it's harder when you get resistance.
Oh,
Because you're like, why am I fighting harder than you are? Why do I care more than you do?
Yeah.
you just spoke to my soul.
And I think that it also like it really encapsulates like that inner strength as well, because it is so hard fighting.
Yes.
And like it can be so just like beat you down, but
Right.
that grit is that I keep going because that intrinsic motivation.
There it is.
Like I believe in what I'm doing and I want to achieve it no matter the fact that there are these obstacles.
Indeed.
And both of you guys work in industries where you are helping people in social work to a certain extent and, mental health. And it's got to be difficult to put in effort and to stay with somebody and to really put in that time and then see them, not see things come to fruition the way you want to.
Yeah. That's that if there's anything, and that's another thing I often remind my team, we do extensive and heavy case management, minimum 6 months up to a year. At the end of each 6 month and 12-month period, we reevaluate, determine if we're going to take them back onto a new caseload, and that's another 6 or 12 months, right? So I often tell them, you're going to want it more for them than they're going to want it for themselves, and sometimes you're going to lose them.
It's so like that with our kids, isn't it? Like you can see them just right there.
Right there.
And you can
man.
see them like crossing that finish line or achieving that goal.
I got a story. Can I share a quick
Come
story?
on. Yeah.
So my daughter Ava is my brainiac. She's the youngest twin. Eva is my natural athlete, gymnastics. She can do, like you tell her anything, you can show her, she'd be able to do it. But Ava is my brainiac. She's my reader. She's my lovey-dovey. And she tried out for cheerleading in the elementary school and made the team. So she was a cheerleader for 2 years, and she was really excited about it. She didn't think she would make it. And she just recently tried out for cheerleading 6th grade. And she came home, she was so excited. Daddy, I really think I nailed it. I really did. And I was telling her beforehand, just like, hey, baby, they have like 80 girls and only 20 can make it. And some of these girls were on the team last year, and they know how to do backflips, and she's just learned how to do a cartwheel. Her sister can do a back tuck and all of this stuff. And last Friday, we got the results back, and she didn't make the team. And I cried for my daughter because her sister made it, and that's even worse. And so she told me, she said, I congratulated Eva because, and she's 11 years old. I congratulated Eva because she really deserved it. And she was like, but I'm just really bummed about it.
Yeah.
Man.
What a beautiful response, though.
I know, right?
Like that is
To be 11 years old.
Yeah.
And it goes back to what you said. Like this is the reality of life, and that I don't even know how to prepare to be a dad in these moments other than just to love on them and hey, you get them next time, champ.
Because that disappointment's so real.
It's so real.
And you don't want to dismiss it, and you don't want to, in an effort to help them sort of, get over it or, and part of that's for a lot of people. I know I did this when my children were younger. It was uncomfortable for me. Yeah. And so because I was uncomfortable, I was like, oh, it's okay, and let's just smooth over it and move on. But what I learned is that I dismissed their feelings, and they didn't feel seen in that moment. And so it's hard.
Yeah.
And I think it's like a big thing is finding that balance of like, you know what, it's okay to be disappointed because like that does, it is so disappointing when you work hard and you're excited and you feel like you've really done your best and then it doesn't work out. Right. Yeah. And so, like, you want to validate that because it is disappointing. It hurts. Yeah. But at the same time, we balance, with that perseverance. And, like, that's okay. That doesn't mean, we stop trying because it's not going to be that way every time. It was just that way this time.
Oh, that's good. That's good. It's just this time. That's good.
So, what are some ways that parents can model grit for their kids in everyday life?
Come on, Laura.
Ooh.
I know you've worked with some.
Oh yeah. I think one of the things with parents is, talking to their kids and, about like in those moments when, those disappointing things happen, even like sharing a little bit of like, you know what, I worked really hard for this and it was really disappointing when I didn't get it. But guess what? I kept going, and later on, I achieved this. I think also a big thing is like sticking to your word, whether that is, boundaries with kids, or it's that loving. I'm doing what I said that I'm gonna do, and following through on that, even when it's hard or uncomfortable
or inconvenient.
Yeah. And because it's hard. I mean, all of us, but particularly parents, there's so many things that take up so much time and mental resources. But it's, if we want to really help give the tools to our kids, I mean,
you got to model it.
Yeah, you're the first teacher. And so some of that is, okay, I'm going to do this because I've said that I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And not do the whole do what I say, not what I do.
Come on now.
Listen, I feel like that is like a Southern tradition.
Come on now.
Yeah.
That I grew up despising.
Yes. Oh, same.
Yes. Yes.
Woo. Especially like as a girl, like growing up, because it would really like just burn me up when my brother, when my mom would be like, okay, you've got to do this and you do it this way. And then meanwhile, she's doing the exact opposite of what she's talking about. And then she's fussing at me. And then my brother Justin is just like there doing his own thing and never getting, talked to at all. And I'd be like, I'm the older sister. Why am I getting all this heat?
Yes. Yeah. So this is also, it's not just a character issue. It's a brain development issue. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about what's happening in a child's brain when they're trying to stay with something that's hard. And I know it fluctuates depending on the age and development. So, let's talk about like preschoolers. Short-term goals.
Well, for one, I think it is also hard for us as parents, as adults, to find those realistic goals that are developmentally appropriate. Yeah. Because it's hard to come back down and then expect, something that maybe like a 9 or 10-year-old, would be able to accomplish versus, a 3, 4, 5-year-old. Right. And so finding that realistic, making sure we're not setting them up for failure because it's outside of their developmental, because I mean, they're learning. Sorry.
That's okay.
I've been tripping over my words all day today. They're learning boundaries. They're learning how to interact, play well with, others. I mean, they're constantly learning. And so by us putting any kind of sort of unrealistic expectation, that's really setting them up for failure. So I think with parents remembering that developmentally, their child has only been in the world a couple years. They're
Yeah.
figuring it
Yeah.
out. And they're also going to take, I don't think they're going to take it quite as personally when they don't figure out, like, you know, something doesn't work out as when they're a little bit older, like 7, 8, 9, 10. Like, that's very personal. Like, you know, they don't get me started on middle schoolers. But
That's such a hard age.
it is.
Such a
Woo.
hard.
It
oh
is.
My goodness.
So those executive function skills are what drives goal setting. So can you talk to us a little bit about what those are?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's starting working on independence, on, okay, when you get done playing, you know, put your toys in this box. It's, you know, or finish all of your dinner before we go play. I mean, you know, it's different small things, but it's being able to start something, finish it in a way that's developmentally, you know, appropriate.
Self-control.
We're working on that.
I'm still working on that.
Same.
Same.
You know, and also there's big emotions happening all the time, and there's no, you know, we're working on regulation and we're figuring it out at that age, and parents have to help with that too. When it doesn't go our way, we may feel and let our feelings out in a big way.
Yeah.
So just some of the examples I want to make sure we mention for our listeners, like preschoolers, it's appropriate to set short-term goals and visual goals, things they can see, tangible, see, touch. Elementary school children, simple planning, make sure that you give them support. And that looks like, you know, getting their clothes out and ready in the morning, or you could get yourself dressed and, you know, but give them support by making sure they're washed and they're, you know, setting them up to succeed. And then for teens, you know, this is kind of where I went off the rails, because in my family, well, you're a teenager, it's hands off. You sink or swim, buddy.
Figure it out. Yeah.
And I learned really quickly that they need more support,
Right.
I think, than what people realize. Because I don't know, I think they still got elementary brains or something. I'm not sure. But something is still
Oh yeah.
no joke. That prefrontal cortex, what is that thing?
It's your prefrontal cortex.
See, I said
it's
it
still,
right.
Come on
Yeah,
now. Come
it's
on
still
now.
developing. I mean,
Yes.
up until the age of 25. I mean, so your impulse control is very low. Decision making,
That was the one.
is questionable, because we're still working on, okay, does the cost outweigh the particular, is the outcome worth the cost, right? And so there's like all sorts of things that go into that.
But so they're as big as you, sometimes bigger. Their attitudes are
Come on.
We got
too
all the
big.
hormones.
There's all the things that make you want to go, okay, smarty pants.
You've got
Figure
it
it out.
all figured out.
Figure it out. We're going to
Yeah.
see.
And so, you know, unfortunately with my first one, that's kind of what I did. And I know now that he's an adult and we can have conversations, that he needed more support than I gave him.
Yeah.
And he felt just thrown to the wolves. So I've tried not to do that this time around. But it's appropriate for teens to set long-term goals. But you got to check in with them,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know?
Well, and there's skills with that, you know, of setting those
Yes.
longer term
Preach.
goals, like, you know, time management, things like that. Like that's, we're not all inherently, I mean, some of us are, but a lot of it, like the concept of time, comes and goes very quickly. And so us being able to get those foundational, like, okay, this is how you set up a schedule, a routine. This is how long something realistically should take, you know, and this is why. So learning those time management skills is really important when you're setting goals, particularly long-term goals, because if we don't have that realistic time frame, there's either not a sense of urgency, so we're not making forward momentum, or it's overwhelming, you know, and so that is.
I'm glad you mentioned the thing about time, because what I have found is, especially with my ADHD kid, that I'm motivated. I want to do it. I'm going to get it. But I want it done now.
Yes.
And that long stretch where you have to put in the work and it takes longer than the 2 days that you're interested.
The motivation.
And once the motivation fades, are you going to stick with it? she struggles with that.
Yeah.
It is hard because, I mean, part of, with ADHD is there's this payoff, this like chemical payoff, like when either we accomplish something or we buy something or even we avoid doing something, it feels good. And so when we're not locked in on something, it is brain-wise so hard to stick with it because we've already gone on to the next thing. And there's 14
I need to come get tested for ADHD. I need to, 'cause, man. That sounds just like me right there.
Oh, it is
Man.
something I struggle with. I'll start something and then it's like I will meander and get distracted by something else, and I'll just be hooked on that. And this other thing that I really need to finish because I started it, just like out of sight, out of mind.
And do you think the world of instant gratification we live in just compounds that?
Yes.
Without a doubt. I think it's just from social media to, just the portrayals of just immediate arrival, right? I mean, even with my children, it's the same. You're not going to be Simone Biles tomorrow, Eva. Like, it's not going to happen. You're not going to go to this. If you don't do what you need to do during this week, next week you're not going to be great at your at your gymnastics meet. It's just not going to happen. And so, but not even for the young ones. I think for us as well. And so. A lot of the young people that I deal with, that's just one of the biggest things, whether it's them wanting to have money right now. So they find themselves doing things that aren't necessarily the right thing because I want money right now, and you have to understand that there's steps, there's checkpoints, and the whole idea of goal setting and objectives, like they don't get the concept of it takes time. And, a lot of them, when you tell them that it takes time, they just don't want to accept it. They don't believe.
No.
Yeah.
I think too, not to kind of go down that sort of heavy path, but I think that there's this sort of demoralized sense of just sort of almost like an existential kind of dread. And, when you talk about future planning, things like that, I mean, I think a big component of that is hope.
Yes.
And, that idea of like, okay, I'm working towards this future goal. It's going to be accomplishable. Like, I'm excited for that. That's what's, but when things are so bleak and we're constantly with like social media, stuff like that, inundated with negativity, I mean, it's almost like, I think with a lot of, especially teenagers, like I see, it's like almost like nihilistic. Like, what's the point?
Right.
Like, it's not going to matter.
Right.
And so it's like all about the right here, right now. And I think some of that is that reaction to what's going on around them.
Sure.
And so it feels hard to think about the future and,
And it's a scary time, and I think societally we put a lot of pressure on kids.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. You're in your junior year. Do you know what you're going to be? You know what you want to do with the rest of your life?
Yeah.
Ooh, lady, I just want to graduate. I want to be happy. I want to go out on a date this weekend. That's all, I mean, but we expect kids to have a plan. And it's okay, like, to say, yeah, I think my next step, I think I would like to go to college, but I don't know if I want to go to college. I like doing my hair and makeup. Maybe I'll go to beauty school. Maybe, and the plan can change, but I think the pressure that we put on them to know and to be certain about the next step can really do them harm. I can think it can be unhealthy.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And I just, also the circumstances for which when my mom and my uncles and my aunts, when they were graduating high school, the idea, and it's same idea is perpetuated even for us when I was getting ready to graduate high school. When you graduate and you turn 18, you're getting up out my house.
Yes.
And it's like, man, so I'm not looking forward to.
That's what I did to my son.
I mean, and that's a reality.
I'm not proud of that.
Yeah, but that's a reality. And I think.
You got to choose school, you go in the military, you're going to get a job, you're going to pay the rent. What you going to do?
And that, my senior year, though that was supposed to be one of the greatest times of my life, was absolutely one of the most, that second semester was the most absolute stressful time ever because first off, I didn't have any examples of anything good to where I can say, okay, I want to follow in these steps, right? I was literally building it as I went. And so with a blank canvas, having to make these decisions at 17, 18 years old was absolutely insane.
With your underformed prefrontal
Come
cortex.
on.
I mean,
Come on.
and I think too, it is so hard because for figuring out what that next step looks like, we're asking 17, 18-year-olds to now make this very big investment that not only of time, but I mean, going to college, I mean, especially right now you're going to get a mountain of student debt, of loan. And
That's legit.
But we're asking 18-year-olds to
take
do
that
that
on.
who are still figuring out. Because I mean, when I started undergrad, I went in knowing that okay, I'm doing political science. I want to work for the United Nations. I'm minoring in Chinese, in Mandarin, all this stuff. But by the end, I had totally changed both my major and my minor.
Come on.
I mean, I was lucky because I buckled down and I was able to
I feel like I've learned something about you now. Mandarin.
Yes.
That's what
Can
I'm
you
sitting
speak?
over.
Can you speak
a
Mandarin?
little bit.
Come on,
yeah.
give us a little.
Oh gosh. Okay.
We're not going to know if you mess up. It's totally fine.
I know, but if somebody's listening, please do not judge me. Okay, I say this with all the respect and love in the world, but it's been almost 10 years. Okay. Ni hao ma lo lan, Ni hao ma wo jiao lo lan. Hello, my name is Lauren.
I love that.
I'm over here talking about Mr. Robot. Yo, they're like, come on, man.
Have you guys seen the meme online where the three guys are it's not a meme. It's actually a clip from a podcast, I think. There's the three guys are sitting around, and one guy is not sure where in Africa he's from, but they play the opening to the Circle of Life. Oh. Okay, you know what I'm talking about?
No, I'm gonna have to find this.
Okay, go ahead, Jay. Finish it up.
And he goes the Lion King, the intro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the dude was like, you said absolutely nothing. And then he goes, I think the guy's from South Africa, and he sings the song in the native tongue in the language, and then they interpret. They say, so what does it mean? Tell him what it means.
Look, there's a lion.
Stop.
Oh my God, a lion.
Stop it. For years.
You thought it was something so
powerful.
That's
philosophical.
what we thought it was.
Look,
It's a lion. Oh my God. It's a lion.
That is hilarious. I had no clue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now I kind of feel like I could have went the rest of my life not ever knowing.
I will
that's
never
what
hear
meant.
it the same.
No, I'm gonna have to find this
It's
clip.
it takes away the suspense of it being yeah.
Oh yeah. Just muttering things for
It's
sure.
so funny, man.
Yeah,
It is.
I'm so glad somebody else knows that.
And actually, I wanted to circle back too. Sorry.
No, we got off track.
No. But
The Lion King.
yeah. We have this home pressure, right? Like parents, you got to figure this out because you're an adult now. When developmentally we're not quite. But also school, teachers. There's this also, kids are getting that at school. I mean, I clearly remember. Because I was an Ava, so I love to read. I was a great writer. I was, that overachiever. I did the IB program at Davidson, but your girl is not good at math. Okay, not good at math. So I
Maybe
always struggled with
Mandarin,
that.
but
not math. Yeah. And but I'll never forget. I was talking to when I was getting ready to graduate because with IB, it's very you have to do all these things and it gets sent off overseas, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm so smart. All this stuff. Even though I had to work my butt off because it doesn't come naturally to me. But I'll never forget that I was talking to my math teacher and my senior year or something. And he said, I was telling him what I had planned to major in and what my long-term goal was. And he just looked at me and he was like, that's a terrible idea. That's really stupid. You're going to regret that. Or he may not have used it very dumb. It was either stupid or dumb. And I carried that with me.
Yeah.
I still have some resentment about that. And I want to be well, look at me now. I'm getting my PhD.
Thank you very much.
Right.
But there is
That's legit.
you know, and I just remember, like, I was so
Man, I hate that.
like, you know, and I just remember, like, you're not, like, that idea of if you do that, you're gonna, like, not be, you know, successful. Like, that's not a realistic whatever. And
That's
I'm over here
crushing.
like,
Yeah.
you know.
And just imagine, like, if you didn't have the resolve or the grit that you had, you know, in being who you are, for some students, that would crush them.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I had a family member that did that to my son. I don't even know if she realizes she did it. But he, you know, Jonathan has never been like the athlete or the hunting and fishing Southern guy. You know, he's into video games and like vintage clothes and, you know, he's quirky and I think it's awesome. But he and his friend wanted to kind of get into the fashion world, but not like America's Next Top Model fashion kind of stuff, but like vintage clothes and things like that.
Yeah.
And so, you know, he had this idea, and the internet has changed the game.
Oh,
like
yes.
it's changed everything in the way that kids think they can enter industry and the way they can. Like it's just changed.
yeah.
So he was telling her his idea for what he kind of wanted to do, and she was like, "Oh, well, that'll never work. Like you've got to do this. You've got to go to college for this. You've got to do that." And it just totally deflated him.
Yeah.
So I think as adults, we got to be careful.
Well, and I think informed too, because we also don't want to create obstacles that our kids then have to hop over that may not exist.
not exist at all.
And that
Right.
ignorance can perpetuate that.
For sure.
You know.
And I think that for me, that's one of the things, because I was a first generation everything.
That's a lot
and,
of pressure. Huh?
Yeah.
oh my goodness, you know. And I'm even now. I'm in school now, so it's for the past 2 weekends I've been literally crying doing my assignments. My daughters, you know, Daddy, are you okay? Yes, baby, I'm okay. School is hard. like
I'm not regretting this decision.
it's all
But what
gonna
a
be
great
okay.
opportunity, though,
For them to
see that.
you know. And I think
Good for you.
that's where it is. It's like, you know, trying to remove all of those barriers by experiencing it, but also with the mentoring that I do in certain places. Like I feel that I have a healthy understanding of the matriculation that my daughters will have to experience over the next years, all the way through college. And I think for parents who, you know, may not have had that same experience that I have, is connecting them to individuals that, you know, you see are going through that. If I want my daughters to get mentors from high school athletes, and you know, I want them to I take them to the games at South Alabama so that they can see and experience college life, so that they have some understanding of something they can aspire to. But even if it's something that I don't know, I urge parents to seek out individuals or experiences that you can expose your children to, so that they can see that and see something outside of, and also let them know you just don't have all the answers to. I tell
Right.
my babies quick, I don't know. Go Google it. Y'all got them tablets. Go Google it, and come back and tell me what it say when you figure it out. So,
So let's talk a little bit about what healthy goal setting means in real life. And we've just got some quick bullets and stuff here to just some notes that I made. But Lauren, what is something that you have seen work with your young clients?
Well, I like, especially if they're younger, or not younger, like, so there's this whole concept and it's called the SMART goals. And
Do tell.
Oh yeah, and you know me, I came like
I know.
I was gonna
I
have,
love it.
I was
Know
gonna
it all.
have like the printouts and all that.
I should
but-
take you to my office and pull out my latest Amazon purchase, which is the polyvagal trauma workbook.
oh wow,
Yeah,
My-
she
my
brings
favorite.
it on here all the time.
I do. It's like, somatic work
And
is so
actually,
important.
Jay and I learned another technique about the ice on the wrist.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yo, and she texted me the other day and she was like, "Oh, I was watching this show and it actually
It was Law
works."
and Order SVU.
Yeah.
I said, Benson, put ice on the wrist. My
So
husband
I
goes,
tried it. And it absolutely works.
It does.
It absolutely works.
It pulls you back into like, okay, I'm focusing instead of on all that like
Yes.
overwhelm. I mean, you're focusing on that sensation of ice on the wrist, of cooling down. I mean, it's somatic
I was
work
catching
is-
up on my shows, and there was Benson, and she's like, "Here, just put this ice on your wrist." I was like, "Jay, can you?"
And I was like,
That's
you
a real
brought this
thing.
back to my memory.
That's
Yes.
a real thing.
When I got my little bullet ice.
I still haven't tried it, but
That's great.
isn't that a vagal like a
Oh yeah. I mean, anything where you're
response or what?
Yeah, it's you're trying to get that regulation with your nervous system by like we call it like embodied experiences where you're really paying attention to what's going on inside your body and using that to help ground. And
Sorry, I took us off track.
No, it's good. You're good. I can
Smart
talk about that all
goals.
day.
Smart
So,
goals.
okay, I had to write it down because I will always trip over my words. So, SMART goals, I love, and I think that it is like it's almost like a formula of creating goals that are actually you're able to follow through and achieve. So, it's specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound goals.
I love an anagram.
Oh yeah. And so specific means that it is a cleared, detailed, defined goal. So we're thinking about what is it that needs to be accomplished, who's included, where, is there a location that's involved? Like what are all the parts of that goal that, we need to be aware of to set ourselves up for success, and we need to define it.
Yeah.
Measurable, and that is like a concrete way, like we have a way of measuring our progress on moving towards achieving that goal. And how what's the end goal? Like how do we know we've done it? How do we know the goal is achieved?
Right.
Achievable is that like the goal is actually realistic. We're not setting a goal that in reality is not going to we're not able to do. Like if the goal is like I want to breathe underwater, like that's like not necessarily the appropriate goal, right?
You'll be in heaven.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And so then relevant is that the goal really should align with, overall what you're working towards. Because, we've got kind of this overarching goal, right? And the idea of a SMART goal is that we're setting these smaller, almost like sub goals that in their totality,
Underneath that.
are moving us towards that greater goal. And so this goal that we've set, really understanding and defining how it is relevant to the overarching goal, and then time bound. So we need to give ourselves a time frame, either that this needs to be achieved by, or a level of time commitment. Okay. So like, for example, a lot of us, like if we go around January 1st, New Year's resolutions, so many of us are like, okay, I want to lose weight. That's really vague, right? Yeah. Okay, I want to lose weight. Sure. How much weight? Yeah. When do we want to lose the weight by? Like, what do we need to do to lose the weight? Yeah. And so when we don't have that and we have this vague goal of I want to lose weight, I mean, it's frustrating because we don't know how we're measuring progress. We don't know, we haven't thought through, what it is that we're actually trying to achieve. Right. So a SMART goal example would be like, I will lose 10 pounds by December 31st of next year by walking 3 times a week.
Okay.
So it's specific. I have a time frame, so the end of the year, and I'm achieving the losing weight through the action of walking. Like that's my action plan, and so I know that I'm achieving it when I'm able to say I have walked 3 times a week for what is it? Well, not 52. Well, I get 52 weeks. Yeah. And so we can keep track of that, and then we also have the the idea of I'm losing 10 pounds. So instead of just I'm losing weight.
You have this.
I'm specifically losing 10 pounds because that's achievable, right? Yeah. And it's not some weird mystified goal that I don't know. Like, is 1 pound okay? Do I have to lose 100?
Yeah.
I don't know. And so if I don't have it defined, it can feel disappointing, or I'm not making enough progress because we've not actually defined the goal.
That's good.
Do you think that we subconsciously avoid the specifics? Do we stay vague to avoid accountability?
Yes.
and
Yes.
from a governance standpoint, I think personally, from the way that we lead our personal lives, but then also from a governance leadership standpoint, I think that's one of the ways that like you said, we avoid accountability.
Yeah.
Because when we put that specific the specific parameters on it, the moment that we don't follow those parameters, somebody can come up to us and say, hey, you said you were going to do this by doing this, and you're not doing it, right? And that right there is, I just think human nature by default when it comes to accountability, right? It just it shies away from it, in my mind. So
Well, also, I mean, it's also a built-in out, so to speak. Like we're avoiding disappointment or frustration with ourselves. When we don't have something clearly defined, we've technically not achieved it, or we haven't like given up, or we're not working towards the goal. It's just like, I can put it off. I can put it off. I can put it off. So I'm avoiding the disappointment or the fact that that accountability that I didn't follow through.
On your last example, you say I'm just going to lose weight rather than putting the 10 pounds on there. If I lose that 1 pound,
Hey,
I technically
didn't.
Yeah.
I do the bare minimum. And so, like I definitely completely get that. That's good.
So let's talk about encouragement and praise and how those things, play into factor with our kids. Are there do's and don'ts when it comes to praise and encouragement? I know there's a difference.
Oh yeah. I think this is an interesting conversation because we have that whole concept of like, the participation award or consolation prize, however we want to say it, but
and shouldn't effort be recognized?
And I for me, I think that validating and affirming, seeing somebody put forth effort, even if like your kid maybe has not achieved the goal or something went a little wrong, like, okay, I'm supposed to brush my teeth every day, but one day maybe I just did mouthwash, or I brushed my teeth, but I forgot to put the toothpaste on there. Acknowledging
kids are funny.
Oh
man.
yeah.
I tell you, man.
Like a parent saying like, I see that you brush your toothbrush is what I know you brushed. We forgot the toothpaste. I want to say I'm glad that you're keeping with the routine. Now we can remember. Now I know you can do it, and we can remember next time for the toothpaste, because you're still validating.
Yeah.
I mean, because we don't. I mean, just sitting there and struggling and stuff. I mean, that's just so. And not having some encouragement. Yeah. Like it's such a bummer. And so celebrating our kids, like making those small goals, I mean, that's huge. And keeping their confidence up, building that resiliency so that at the time, because the world's
it's gonna
tear them down. And so we should not be doing that at home. Yeah. And I think there's a difference between, teaching your child accountability and, starting and sticking with something and following through versus, really tearing them down. It can be easy to, to creep into that, like not necessarily tearing them down, but like not seeing the effort, because it's still, if a child's putting in effort, even if it's not the ideal outcome, like you've got a kid that's listening and hearing you.
And one thing I definitely don't want to be. I remember having this conversation with my mom, and she eventually apologized as I got older. But one of the things that happened, I was not a good student. I was not in school. I just wasn't. And so one day I remember bringing my report card home, and I had brought my grades up. Like I was really, really, really proud of my grades. And like I went from like D's and C's to like B's and probably more C's. No, probably 1 D or something crazy. And my mom was just like, yeah, we see how long you keep it up, and it's just like,
deflating.
I was like, kind of like what you said, kids say earlier. Why am I even trying?
Exactly.
Like I know it's not the best, but mom, like I really tried this session. Like I really tried this semester, and I remember telling her that as we got older, anytime we did something that we were essentially supposed to do, why do I need to pat you on the back? That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, that I don't want my babies to feel like that.
That's a very common. I hear that a lot from parents.
Yeah.
Because also, we're not teaching our kid like there's benefit of going above and beyond. Because if we're like feeling good about doing what we're supposed to do, wouldn't we feel even better about going above and
giving
beyond?
An extra mile. If she's loving me like this, just imagine what she'd do if I did this.
Ooh, that means I've got to I really got to buckle down because I know I've brought it up now.
Right.
I can do it again.
Do it. Yeah.
And
this whole conversation makes me think about like the world of Little League and kids sports and stuff, which can, no offense to our listeners, okay, which can venture into an unhealthy zone.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about when our kids want to quit, or when you see, your kid, they want to be on that Little League team. I want to make the All-Stars, and you see them in unhealthy situations. Mm-hmm. How do parents navigate that? How can we recognize when a situation is unhealthy for them? Mm-hmm. And how do we handle them wanting to get out of it?
This is a really tough one.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it's going to be kid to kid. Because they're looking out. I think I'll go to the first part of it. Looking out for unhealthy is... Because I have a little sister from Big Brothers Big Sisters, and her younger brother, he started doing like club football and
and let me say that youth sports, there's great benefits to it,
absolutely.
Wonderful benefits. So I'm not a hater, so don't come after me.
But some of the way that those coaches would absolutely dog those 7 and 8 year olds.
Yeah, my son played baseball, and the mama in me was like, I'm gonna find you after practice.
So I mean, like that, and when a kid comes to you and they're like, I don't want to do it. I mean, yeah, they don't want to do it. They're getting berated.
Yeah,
Yeah. And it's different than like there's always that great coach story, where a kid connects and they push the kid to really excel. But there's different than getting it's motivation by degradation, sort of, so to speak, and that's not healthy either.
And there are adults out there that they think that's a tactic.
Yeah, and that's not the way. And so keeping a kid in something like that, I don't know if that's the healthiest, because there is that idea that commitment, even doing something that we don't want to do, is important, because we have to stick through stuff. But also, if it's at the detriment of our self-esteem, of if your kid's getting anxious every time they have to get out on the field, like that's not a good situation.
I'm glad you said that, because Jonathan was very much, he's laid back. He kind of lets stuff roll off his back. Like, I don't care. Baseball worked for him because he figured out, like, when I hit the ball hard enough, it goes really far. I don't have to run fast if I don't want to, so yell all you want. And he just kind of did things like that, didn't bother him. So when it came to the point that he was like, Mom, I don't want to play baseball anymore. They reach a certain age where it gets super competitive and it's not fun anymore. It was like, okay, I hear you. Let's just finish out the year. You've made a commitment to your team. I know it's, you don't look forward to it, but, and if you don't want to play next year, you don't have to.
Right.
Those kind of things. But Fia would have never been able to do that. Like, she absorbs so much of those criticisms. Yeah. And it would have totally not been something she could handle. So I'm glad you said it's different kid to kid.
It is. Because that wouldn't be healthy for Fia. Because if she's like internalizing all of that, that's gonna knock her self-esteem down. That's not lifting her up and making her feel good. Whereas Jonathan, he was able to let it roll off.
Yeah, you want to yell at me? I'm not running fast enough for you. Yeah. Whatever.
And wouldn't that essentially kind of like condition them to accept that further on later in their lives and their relationships and stuff? Like, wouldn't that condition them that it's okay to feel like this in these relationships?
Yeah, or like it's inevitable. It's like a part of it, you know. And that's no, that's not what we want to perpetuate.
Yeah.
And I think an important thing that we also kind of leave out of the conversation is that children's interests do change as they get older because, you know, their brain is different. And so, you know, I mean, even when I was 28, like being 32 now, like my interests are different from when I was 21.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we all, so at some point, what they've started and worked towards, and because I think that it's natural for parents to feel like, well, I've put all this money into like, you know, batting lessons, and, you know, we've spent so much time out on the field, like, you know, our every Saturday doing this, and it feels like frustrating.
Can't give up now.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
I'm invested.
Yeah, and which is absolutely normal. I mean, it's valid. However, you know, if your kid's gonna resent and it's their interests have just changed, I mean, that's just a part of life.
Yeah.
And you know, Jessica, I really liked the approach though, is that, you know, okay, I can commit to the end of the year versus I have to stick with baseball until I can't play baseball anymore. You know, I mean, that's very different. Like, that's an achievable commitment. And okay, I know that I can do this. I can suck it up for another 3 months.
Well, and honestly, if it had been an individual sport, I probably would have approached it differently. But in the time, it was like, no, you've made a commitment to your team. These people are depending on you. You've given them your word.
Yeah.
And to me, that's, I guess that was a big thing for me as a kid. When you say you're going to show up, you show up.
Yeah.
I think that's a great lesson.
Even when you don't want to, and even when it's hard and inconvenient, you show up.
Yeah.
And maybe you only have 60% to give, but we're gonna be there.
Yeah. Your team's not gonna get disqualified because they don't have enough players.
Correct.
Right.
You know, even though, because again, there's that difference between, okay, I just don't like this anymore, like,
Yeah.
versus like, oh, I'm being berated in like
Yes.
in this way that's not healthy. You know, and it's good, like some light distress tolerance, you know, is
Some
important.
healthy struggle is.
Yeah.
I think it's important for those real world situations.
Absolutely.
And it's different than like toxic stress.
Yes.
Healthy struggle. I like that.
Healthy struggle, because we have to be able to get through challenges.
Yeah.
You know, and some challenges are hard, and some challenges are just these internal, like, I don't like this anymore. I really don't want to do it, but you know, I'm gonna do it anyways because I did give my word.
Yeah.
Versus like, okay, I'm gonna throw up every time I get out on the field because like I'm, you know, getting torn down, and it's just very different circumstances, and that's why it's so hard to answer this, because it is kid to kid, and it's what's healthy versus not healthy.
That's good.
So if you could, let's leave our listeners with one point of reflection. Jay, what are you taking away with helping your kids grow grit and, you know, setting goals and sticking with them?
If you're gonna talk the talk, you gotta walk the walk.
Yeah.
That's what I would say is, I like that. You know, what we talked about early on in the episode is just, you have to model it, right? Don't be what a lot of our parents were to us.
Yeah.
You know, we have to model it. We have to be willing to not only just put the work in ourselves, but then take them by the hand and walk them through the process, you know, side by side.
I love that. And you make sure you tell Ava, like, we're super proud of her for going out after that.
Come on.
For just
Good
going
for
and
her.
doing it.
That takes guts.
It does. That does take grit, because you're putting yourself out there,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
it can feel like a failure.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
When they're also, the odds were stacked against her. Like, she hadn't been cheering very
Yeah.
long. There were 80 girls.
Come on now.
Like, that's not a failure on your part. That just like,
I think it's a huge win.
Yeah.
That she did it.
And she was so confident. And that's what I told her. I
Yes.
said, the fact that you went out there and executed to a level that you were satisfied
And you're
with,
proud of yourself.
that's what matters, baby. That's what we need.
and that's, I think, the big point. I think
Yeah.
that's so important with parents is taking that approach of acknowledging and affirming and uplifting our kids when those small, just getting out there, even if it's not the perfect outcome, the ideal outcome, or the goal was met in a weird roundabout way, like the fact that we celebrate that, I mean, that is huge for our kids and building that resiliency, so that sense of failure, it's pushed out, instead, like, they saw how hard I worked. I did my personal best, and just because I didn't get the ideal outcome of being on the team doesn't mean that there's something wrong with me. I'm not a failure. And so rejoicing in them just getting themselves out there, like, that's so big. And so celebrating those little wins, even if they're not the correct way or that's not just giving them a participation trophy. That's really building up that confidence, that inner strength, and
and it's saying to them, I see you.
Yeah, I'm paying
I
attention.
see you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, as we close out today, just remember, here on Unrattled, we like to say nobody's got this thing figured out. I know I sure don't. No. So stick with it. Have some grit in your parenting when it gets hard. And we'll see you next time here on Unrattled. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the hosts and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Gulf Regional Early Childhood Services or its partners. This podcast is for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the guidance of qualified professionals with any questions you may have regarding parenting, education, or your child's development. See you next time.